Yep, we're rolling for another fragrance review. As I've mentioned in previous videos, I've been kind of working through my collection of EDTs and EDPs. We're going to be talking about an EDP today, Eau de Parfum. I've had this for about a month. This was actually one that I got given. Well, I say loosely given, it was my dad again, without going off into a big tangent. Both have a passion for fragrances, been kind of, sometimes like I'll wear one that he likes and he ends up buying it and vice versa. But this one, he said to me, I smelt it like, I sprayed a bit in the air first of all, and then I put a bit on my skin. And I said, "Oh, what's wrong with this one? Why don't you wear this one?" And he basically, long and short of it, said it just doesn't last. It's like, it's crap. That his words. Um, so again, without jumping the gun, I just said, "Well, I'll take it off you. Like I think it smells all right." And that wasn't just in the air; that's on my own skin. So what we're talking about in question, I have heard of this brand, Scent Hilaire, and it's called Private Red. And this is, I believe, 100 ml Eau de Parfum, made in France. Yeah, so I have heard of the brand. I just think, a bit like myself, sometimes he'll purchase on a blind buy. And this particular EDP, I've never heard of. I've heard of the brand. I don't have experience with the house themselves in terms of fragrances. Kind of like Bentley. Again, another review that I've done more recently, or probably several weeks back. But what we're going to go over the notes, usual format, go over the notes, give you kind of a bit of an idea of the ingredients that's in there. I'll go through spraying on the skin to give a more accurate assessment on again, as always, say, yeah, you can do it on the card. I don't have any to hand, or do I yet? One of the cards that you get in a shop. This is a Tom Ford one. And yeah, it gives you an idea. Like, say, if you're not sure on something, or something that's been recommended to you, then yeah, I'd recommend maybe putting a bit on a card to kind of get an idea. And then if you like it, go on the skin. Don't just go on the initial radiance or that burst, because that's how they get you, as they say, or as I say. It's more of just with an EDP, it's not the initial burst so much, it's coming back after an hour, what's happened in terms of the projection, the radiance on your skin then. In terms of, again, I've mentioned this before, but I thought I'd reiterate it. EDT tends to be that initial burst that stays for an hour or two, and then it dies down to skin scent and nothing. EDP tends to last longer. Doesn't always have the radiance of an EDT, but I thought I'd mention that as well, because in terms of what I'm going to do now with the Private Red, I actually thought it was an EDT, not only on the initial bursts and radiance being very pleasant, but how it dries down, and how it kind of the performance isn't there. So we'll go through the notes anyway, and then I'll do the skin test. As I said, I've been wearing it off and on for the past month, maybe a little bit longer, so I can kind of give an accurate reading. I don't like, it's different when you do a one and done in terms of a sample, because you can only give an initial review. Something that I choose to do is I wear them in different environments, be it the gym or at work or going out, clubbing and so on, different environments, different temperatures of myself in terms of how that affects radiance and so on. But without further ado, we'll go over the notes. So the price isn't too bad for 100 ml, 20 to 30 pound. And yeah, I saw this, funnily enough, today on offer. I was just curious. I think it was like £12.59 on one website. So again, that might not be included in shipping, but I just thought I'd mention it. So it's fairly cheap and cheerful. So you're going to get a bit of marketing spiel here, but I'll try and get through to the actual note. So invigorating and effervescent, Private Red opens with a note of lemon, moistened with a marina accord for an ultra invigorating effect. The green apple comes to underline this departure of irresistible crisp freshness. At the base, vetiver and amber form an intense and charismatic duo. that the tonka bean embellishes with a powerful addiction. So, sounds all la-di-da and fancy. Some nice ingredients in there, some ingredients that I've liked in previous reviews or previous EDTs, EDP. So what we're going to do, I'm going to go onto the skin. I'll just do the 2 sprays because it's meant to be an EDP. And as I said, the initial radiance is very nice. The first few notes that you get is very pleasant. If I was to do, I've got to let it settle because it's quite strong at the moment. But to describe it, it's kind of like it smells like a classic gentleman's scent. If I was to, again, you get that a lot. It's kind of like, as I made a joke in another video about when people say, oh, that steak's really good. Oh, why was it good? Oh, it melts in the mouth. It melts in the mouth. But to try and give some generalisation to this, to kind of categorise it, classic sort of gentleman's smell, kind of barbershoppy, your granddad or an older man. That's how I detect it, perceive it. Not in a bad way either, I'm just saying my thoughts. It's fresh and clean, but very masculine, and it's strong. So ticks a lot of the boxes in terms of what I would want and what you would want. I think that the biggest issue is the longevity, and that hence why I thought it was EDT, because within 2 to 3 hours maximum, this is all but gone, and like it's very, very faint on the skin after that. So much so that even though it says it's an EDP and it's fairly cheap, I honestly thought it was an EDT. It wasn't until I wore it more often, and obviously my dad saying crap in terms of the performance, not the smell. The smell is quite pleasant. And as I said, going off of the actual notes within the formula and the price, I think it you know, it's nothing complex or complicated. But I think for the price, I think, yeah, treat it more of it as an EDT. I'm not saying hammer it on, because for the first hour it's very radiant on my skin, at least. It's not overly projecting, but there's a lot of positives there. It's nice, it's different, sort of a classic gentleman's smell. In terms of and comparisons, I would say it's more like the Police original that I did more recently. Again, I would actually say, in my opinion, the Police original is slightly better than this because it's slightly stronger and more projecting for the time that it's on there. But the lifespan in terms of the 2 to 3 hours on the skin are about the same. And I gave that a 6 out of 10 purely because of that fact. The smell I like and agree with, and it's very cheap. In terms of this one, you pay a bit more money, and the fact that it's meant to be an EDP, obviously I'm just going on the prices that I found, but maybe back in the day it used to be more money. I'm not sure. I didn't ask my dad how much he paid for it. I don't think he paid the earth for it, but let's say 30-40 pounds. So obviously you can get this cheaper, but personally it's nothing special. I'd probably still give it a 6 out of 10 because a bit like Police, I like it. For the 2 to 3 hours, it's nice on my skin. It projects and radiates off. If I was to give an environment to where it's a hard one, because again, if it was more projecting, maybe a bit more modernized, then you could say clubbing and that sort of thing. And I think it would be a bit too strong for like an office, especially as a younger man. I think it would come off a bit, I don't want to say pretentious, but I think it's a bit too powerful for that. So again, it kind of limits where it can go. But in terms of the actual smell, I think a 6 out of 10. Personally, in terms of a demographic, yeah, I would say the older guy, 40-50 up. Yeah, I'm like getting there. I don't want to give my age away. I probably have before. I'm Grandpa Simpson. I forget things anyway. But long and short of it, fresh, clean, gentleman classic. Just to show you again what it looks like. So it's Saint Hilaire Private Red. Yeah, it's okay, 6 out of 10. If you see it on offer like 10 to £15 with delivery, I'd say it's worth it. I'm not saying smash it on, but within 2 to 3 hours it's pretty much gone. It's meant to be an EDP, but it performs more like an EDT. So we end it there. So Private Red by Saint Hilaire, 6 out of 10. What lets it down is the performance. It's nothing special. And if I was to draw a comparison, I would say it's similar to the Police original, which is an EDT. It's let down in the performance with this one. So it's only going to get a 6 out of 10 from me. We're going to end that there.